brief little talk here about being able to date women when you have other distractions going on in your life. I have found as a guy, when I am really gung-ho on a project or trying to get to the next level in whatever I'm working on, that it's very, very easy to be so involved in the thing you're trying to do to get to that next level that if you already have a girlfriend or a wife or you're in a relationship, it's very easy to unintentionally start to neglect them to where you feel as though it's almost like a burden that other person's even there in the first place, you know? And as guys, we got to get better at that. So I saw a Reddit post where this guy's question was, should I reach back out or chalk it up as a loss? And so here's what he said. He said, I started dating someone in January. We instantly connected and we had so much in common. I referred to her as the girl version of me, and she referred to me as the guy version of her. It was almost scary how alike we were. We got very close, very fast. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with a custody case for the past 15 months. So I imagine it's with an ex-wife or ex-whatever. He says, and whenever something stressful happens involving that, I found that I shut down emotionally, and my brain tells me, quote, you shouldn't be dating right now. You need to focus on this case. And that ended up happening. I cut things off with her, but didn't fully explain because even I didn't know at the time. We agreed to be friends. After a week, though, it ended up being too hard for her, and she blocked me on social media without any warning. I wasn't upset. I completely understood. I would have done the same thing. I ended up thinking about her a lot, had a dream about her. So a month later, I texted her, apologized again, and said I understood why she blocked me, but I just wanted to check in and see how she's doing. She actually responded, was friendly, and even said she thought about texting me a few days earlier. Had a short back and forth. I was glad that she didn't hate me. I told her that I'd like to stay in touch and told her she could message me whenever. I didn't want to pry. That was a month ago. I'll get back to that later. The offer was given and she hasn't acted on it in a month. Should I just accept that I made a mistake and move on and safely assume that she has moved on as well? Or should I try reaching out to her again? It feels like it's going to be one of those, the girl that got away situations. So here's the thing. So this guy's talking about how ultimately this court case, you know, it's a thing that's like emotional for him. It's taxing. And so by the end of all that, when he's dealing with that on a date, he's getting drained by that. And this is the thing that I find happens more often for men than for women. Like, it's true, women go through emotional stuff, but they're almost like built, designed, and or trained to be able to handle a wide array of emotions. Like, you'll notice sometimes women will say like, this guy's just so boring because he's just kind of like this. And that's because women can handle in the course of like a 10-minute time span, being happy, excited, frustrated, sad, mad, happy again, elated, sad, crying, happy, jovial. Like, they are well equipped to deal with all those things and it not tire them out. And that's equivalent to, I know sometimes, like, even though women work in the workplace, usually I find it takes them longer to make decisions. And then usually in the course of making like these logistical, logical, analytical decisions that aren't feelings-based, they get tired. Whereas guys, we can be analyzing facts and figures all day and it not do a single thing to wipe us out. But then we get to the emotional stuff and we get wiped out. And so you got to understand, guy, that even though we feel as though we're not as emotional, it's not so much that we're not all that emotional. It's that emotions are draining on men. We don't have as much estrogen, and therefore our bodies are designed to be workhorses that don't feel, because if you don't feel things, you can work a lot more and a lot longer, you know? And so I think for guys, the hard part is that dating is already emotionally taxing enough because you have to know how to take care of a woman, know the ins and outs of what she wants and needs, be able to react to or adjust to when she's feeling a certain way about a thing. That's already its own exercise, right? That's just on a person. Now factor in this guy's case, he's got a court case going on that involves kids. That's emotional. Having to go to court, having to spend money, that's emotional. And so he's dealing with a lot of emotional stuff to where he's not, by the time he gets home from the days that he's dealing with this case, he is completely drained. And that will put an effect on a woman. Now, in this case, he decided to break up. But what if they were already married? What if they were in a long-term relationship where things for the longest time were just going super smooth and there was no bumps in the road, and then all of a sudden something happens. Somebody gets fired, one of your parents catches cancer, you guys have kids and one of them get really harmed in an accident. Like, there's gonna be so many times in life where things are gonna pop up. And as a guy, it's good to be as indifferent as you possibly can, but there's gonna be a point where maybe things get a little bit more emotional than you anticipated and it's going to drain you. These are not the moments where you can just be like, well, I'm emotionally drained, so I'm going to just throw in the towel in this relationship, because at the point that you start making commitments to women, that's not fair to them to be like, well, I promise for better for worse, but this was like one of those worst times and it's emotionally draining and I can't take it. And so I don't think it's fair to you. So I'm just going to leave, because again, women can typically handle emotional stuff a lot better than we can, you know? And so she might be able to pick up some of that burden for you as you're going through emotional stuff, or she might know how to emotionally get you out of that situation when you're going through these deep emotions that maybe you've never experienced before, or you just haven't had to deal with on a consistent basis, you know? But suffice to say that this guy, it seems like he had a girl that actually wants to be there for him, because like, again, he reached out to her and she was like willing to actually talk to him, which means that she had lost no interest, right? Now, here's the other thing. This guy did a thing I tell you guys not to do all the time, which is you do not put the burden of contacting you on her. Like I tell you guys that when women really like you, they're going to be ones reaching out to you more often than not. But this is a situation where he broke up with her. She was respecting his wishes to not be contacted because as far as she knew, it was over with, right? This is not the time to be like, hey, I'm good again. Reach out to me whenever, because he broke it off. And so this is the thing where, for one, this is also why I tell you guys that the phone should be used only for setting dates. You should not be trying to think, okay, well, I reached out to her and I said, reach out to me whenever. Reach out to you for what? You want her to reach out to you to ask for a date? That's not her job. It's your job to use the phone to ask for dates, and only dates. This is the case where he reached out to the girl to get reacquainted with her. So yeah, he'd reach out. Hey, how you doing? Banter. Hey, great. It's nice catching up. By the way, let's schedule a date. Let's schedule some in-person time. We can talk, chat, hook up, do whatever, right? This guy wasn't doing that. And so therefore, he's thinking now like, she must not be interested anymore. It's like, no, dude, you're the guy. You're the one that's supposed to reach out to her to ask for what you want. And he doesn't seem to know what he wants, because he says in an update, he reached out later and he's trying to turn it into a friendship now. So he's trying to turn into a friendship, a situation with a woman whereby he already did that before, and she didn't want a friendship. She wanted to be with him, and he's trying to offer friendship still. That, guys, is not fair to the woman. If you are trying to connect with a woman or reconnect with a woman because you're like, well, I don't want to hurt her feelings and I still want to talk to her, but I don't want to do anything with her, and you know that she wants a relationship with you, it is not fair for you to reach out. Even if you think, but I did her bad by leaving her and I feel like a bad guy. Part of the dating game is you're going to start dumping chicks. And that sometimes is going to make you, in their eyes, the bad guy. It doesn't actually make you a bad guy, but they're going to give you that feeling tone. You can't let how you feel about them having that feeling tone about you make you change your mind on that. So if this is a situation where this guy knows that beyond a shadow of a doubt that whether it's because he can't emotionally handle it or because he's just not interested, that him reaching out is going to result in her having lovey-dovey feelings again, it's not fair to her, and I'd say he shouldn't do that. On the other hand, if he's thinking, you know what, I got a lot of stuff going on that's going to affect my emotions, but I got to learn how to handle that so I can still be in a good relationship. Then if he likes her like that and can see a relationship, it will be worth reaching out. The last thing I'll say is this, is that people in general need to do a better job at really looking at the amount of time it takes to actually do things versus how much time we automatically take, you know? For example, in this situation, you'll say like, oh, I'm so emotionally set down because I got to deal with this custody case. So, okay, you might have a day, for example, where there's a custody case happening and there's 3 hours of your day where you got to be on the phone, you got to talk to a lawyer, this and that, right? 3 hours, you're done for that day. You feel like you're wiped out, right? But it's 3 hours. You could take a nap, get up, and then do the rest of your day involving this woman, right? But what people do is they'll say something like, for example, I work from home, right? So I might be like, oh, it's like, I got all day to work on some stuff. I got to work on these videos all day and put together a podcast show, this and that. Does it have to take all day? Like when I plan these shows, it takes me conservatively, like I think of a topic. I might do some research. It might take me like 35 to 45 minutes tops to come up with a show where I have an idea of what I want to talk about. I have other subtopics, and then I know part of it's going to be answering questions. That's going to pad the show, right? So collectively, thinking about a show to where I've created a show takes 30 to 45 minutes tops, right? So for me to be like, get up at 8 a.m, oh, I got to plan a show today. And I'm just watching YouTube videos and I'm like walking around eating food. And it's like, oh, I got to think about that show. So I'll then if I would just stop like, oh, every hour or so, I'm stopping to think about the show. Oh, I worked all day on the show. I didn't work all day on the show. I worked a concentrated 30 to 45 minutes on the show, but I spread it out through the course of the day. But then at the end of the day, I can't be like, oh, I spent all day working. Did I though? And so I say that because guys do this. They'll be like, oh, it's so much turmoil and this and that. But if you learn to better set your schedule to where you have concentrated hours where you're doing the task you need to get done, you will find if you put stuff into a concentrated amount of time, you'll actually get more stuff done. It'll be more efficient. And then you'll still have energy to do the other things like have a relationship that you actually want to do. So that's just something to consider, guys. Really look at how you're going about your days of things, because you might be able to find that you're actually wasting a lot of time that's zapping your energy, when if you just put more effort forth to really like zero in on, okay, this task is going to take me an hour tops, and then just focus on that hour for that task, you'll find you'll have more than enough energy available for your significant other in your life. Just wanted to point that out.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man.